Every first-year Greek teacher and every first-year Greek textbook has to simplify a little. It's simply too difficult to teach all the nuances in 1 year. I think there's enough to learn in first-year Greek by itself. But the danger is if you don't understand that there is simplification going on, and you have to be aware of that as you get into exegesis. For example, in John 12:32, Jesus says, "And I, if I am lifted up." What, Jesus? You're not sure you're going to be crucified? So let's look at John 12:32. And I, okay, first year Greek, aeon means if, right? If I am lifted up, and hopefully you recognize this is aeon with a subjunctive. It's a third-class conditional sentence. We'll come back to that. If I am lifted up from the earth, I will draw all people to myself. Okay, pretty straightforward. But what are we going to do with this if I am lifted up? If you're a little rusty on your conditional sentences, go to 35.5 in BBG, and you'll see that there's a third-class conditional sentence where you have aeon and the verb in the subjunctive in the protasis. There's two kinds of conditional sentences. There's the future more probable, and that means that the speaker is thinking of some specific event that probably will happen in the future. But the same form can also have a present general, which describes a condition that is generally true, but it's not thinking of any one specific time. Well, obviously in John 12:32, this is a future more probable. Here's the problem. If we translate the aeon as if, as both the NESB and somewhat surprisingly the CSB does, what you have is Jesus saying, well, if I'm going to be crucified, but if, I don't know, am I not? I'm not sure. Well, that's the only way to read an if in English. And you notice that all the other translations go with when. And when I am lifted up, which is certainly what Jesus intends. So be careful with conditional sentences. In a first class with a, there's even sometimes that if will introduce an issue of probability that is not in the speaker's mind. But in a third class here, you have to be especially careful. Look at the context and make the right choice.